Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Girl Dad Girls. I'm one of your hosts, Bree St. Marie. We have that QT Danny B, and we also have you all know and love her, Michaela Garcia. How are you?
Hey, hello,
Yay!
ladies. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Welcome to the podcast.
That intro was
Yeah,
super professional. I could tell you've done this
Yeah,
before.
we
I
do
turn it
this a
on and off.
lot.
It's
We've done this at least 10 times.
yeah.
Well, I will say I have been listening to you ladies when I wake up in the morning and
Oh,
get ready, and I love the show.
Really?
I'm a big fan now. I actually
Oh,
heard my name dropped a few episodes back. That was pretty exciting.
oh, yeah,
oh.
I mean, like, we were super excited to have you on. So, I think we made other guests feel uncomfortable because we were talking about you. But,
Uh-oh.
anyway.
Oops.
But yeah, tell us about you. Like, tell us who you are for those who the three people on the internet who don't know who you are.
Oh, I'm so bad at talking about myself. Okay, let's see. Hi, my name is Michaela Garcia. I'm 5'8", 100 and mind your business pounds.
Ooh,
Um,
my language.
I brown hair, brown eyes. I'm Latina, Mexican, Puerto Rican. Um, I don't know. Am I doing this right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hear
yeah, yeah.
we're in this like I'm out in the Los Angeles. I hear you're near the Los Angeles area.
I am. I'm a little closer to Anaheim, near the Disneyland area. But yes, I am a
Oof.
SoCal gal.
How long
And
you been in California?
all my life, I was born and raised here in
Oh,
Ah,
no
California.
shit.
That's why I'm
Wow.
broke all the time because I live in California.
That makes sense.
yeah.
I get that.
I've been walking around like even the the kind of rundown houses. I'm like, that's got to be at least $1 million for that house. It's so crazy because on the East Coast, everybody's in apartments because everything's so condensed. But here, it's like everything's so spread out. Like when we were flying in, it was just like the sprawl is amazing.
Yeah,
So,
well, I live in a teeny tiny apartment myself, but it's okay. I'll get a house someday. Maybe
That's
30 to
yeah,
40
fine.
years I
I'm
can
in a
afford
teeny
one.
tiny house.
yeah, I'm in a hotel room. For those who sorry for anybody who's listening, I'm wondering why the hell does Danny sound like an idiot? I had just had face surgery, so I have a giant cast on my nose. And I chose to talk this way, so this is awesome. So Michaela, so tell us about your transition. How long have you been doing it? Like what have been the highlights, some of the your favorite points of it?
Uh, oh wow, this is
Or
so
the
hard
lowlights,
to
or the
right on the
midlights.
spot, huh? Um,
Yeah,
let's see. So I transitioned almost 7 years ago was when I first came out, and
that's
I've been on
awesome.
hormones for 6 years. I am on the pill, not the shot, but I do
Yeah,
want to look
hell
into that.
yeah.
After
Okay.
listening to you ladies, I actually really want to get on the shot, so I'm gonna have to look into that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, let's see. So, um, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, how I guess you said
Cut that part.
6 years on hormones. So that I guess that would put you back at like 2016, 2017, kind
Yeah,
of.
I think so. Okay,
Okay.
let me try this a little bit differently. So yeah, so I came out. I was married. I do have two kids.
Oh,
So I am
awesome.
a trans parent, I guess, and I still go by dad, which is why I was super excited to be on your podcast, all the girl
Yay.
dads.
Yay.
And yeah, so came out. Unfortunately, the ex didn't want to be a part of it, so I ended up getting a
Yep.
divorce. Ended up being on my own, and then I kind of went into like a little depression and stuff, and so I kind of turned to social
Yeah.
media and tried to get myself entertained by the internet world, and
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 this
for
was so you're saying around 2016, 2017 you joined social media.
I
Was
did. Yeah,
really
because I was on my own and I was bored. I didn't know what to do, and I was trying to find honestly, other trans parents like me
yeah.
because I didn't find anybody like me out there. Everybody was either like over sexualizing themselves or just kind
Mm.
of I just couldn't relate with them. So I wanted to start my own Instagram page and in the hopes that people would find me that had similar interests and things in common. And a couple years later, I don't know what happened, but people seemed to like my content and it kind of blew up on me. And
Yeah.
Well, it totally makes sense. You're hilarious. Like,
Yeah. For those who don't follow you, would you mind saying like what you describing your how to get in touch with you, your Instagram, your websites, if you have any of that stuff? I'll put it. The production team will put it in big bold text.
Sure. So all my handles are Mikaelaville, kind of like Smallville, but with Michaela in front of it, and that's attached to everything I have. My TikTok, my Instagram, which I use the most. I tried YouTube for a little while there. It's connected to my
Dude.
OnlyFans and my Grinder. And no, I'm just kidding about those last two.
Um,
But yeah,
It's like,
look up Mikaelaville, and everything that I have on social media is attached to that name.
Love it. When this is a question that I like to ask people who started around that time, because I came out in 2017 for about a month, was on hormones, and then went back in the closet because my friends all convinced me that it was a phase and I was getting over it. But at the time, I didn't realize that there was a community at all, especially in small town Virginia. What was it like back? Because right now it seems like it's almost in vogue. Like we're highlighted by every major, positively or negatively by every major news network. So I feel like it's really easy for trans people to come out, be who we are, and then find community. But was it different back then, or were you able to really quickly find fellow trans people who kind of related to your story?
It was actually kind of difficult. It was very lonely in the beginning. I felt like I was just kind of by myself posting things, and just a lot of like fetishizers and stuff kind of found me first. But I don't know, I just kept going. I tried posting every single day, and then yeah, then people slowly started finding me, and then I started finding other girls on social media that I got in contact with. So you ladies might know a couple of them. I don't know if I'm allowed to name drop or not, but
We can figure it out. Go for it.
okay. Well,
yeah.
suddenly Samantha, she was a
Oh
big one.
yeah.
I saw she was she was married at the time, another trans parent, and I reached out to her, and I kind of took inspiration from her, and kind of, kind of, yeah. I'm so sorry.
No. It's so interesting because looking at your Instagram page, for those who don't know, Michaela has is just over 200,000 followers on Instagram, which it's so interesting because I just have a bunch of questions on, I guess, how you got there. Like, did it all come in one big wave? Was it just sort of a slow trickle that kind of a hockey sticked up into the right? Was You said you were posting every day? Did you find that was like good for your mental health, but also like good for your follower count, or vice versa?
Yeah, it was kind of a slow climb, very gradual. I'd never had like any kind of like anything go viral where I just got a whole bunch of people at the same time. But my Instagram kind of evolved. So it started off where I joined Instagram to reach out to others about the being a parent, and then I started kind of documenting my transition,
Mhm.
kind of step by step. And then I kind of got bored talking about being trans all the time. So then I kind of switched focus to like comedy and just being kind of goofy, and
Yeah.
I try to be funny in all my posts. And I actually talked to a friend early on who said, if you want to get more followers, the key is consistency. Try to post every day. So I just kind of made that a
Yeah.
personal goal of mine. And it used to be very fun. Like I used to look forward to it. I used to like just random thoughts would pop up in my head that I wanted to post about. So I'd write it down and then post about it the next day. And uh yeah, that's kind of how it took off on me, I guess. And slowly but surely, I got the follow count that I have now.
It,
That's kind of exactly the same model that I've been following. I'd except I do Monday through Friday. I don't do weekends.
Mm.
But it's getting to be a lot, honestly. It's like,
As
yeah. I
am
feel
I
like the
posting just
burnout.
to post, or I did start originally kind of just making heartfelt stuff. Not stuff, it really was. I had just gotten separated and I started my account after I got separated, and I was like pouring my heart out, and people were just starting to pick up on it and actually read it. So mine's kind of been on the slow climb a little bit, but measly like 4,400 as of today.
very good.
But
On the up,
I,
on the up and up.
yeah.
Um, that's interesting. Because I have noticed that for me, it's doing the same post, especially like just posting an update. Um, I guess I'm getting burnt out with it, but I do have to commend you for like being able to stick with it and also like not selling yourself out. Like I know a lot of trans women who they want to get to that next level. They want to get to 25,000, want to get to 30,000. So they start going nude or not nude, but like, really risque, I guess. And that's what I was really
Hey
impressed
now.
with, that you're like that you're oh no, we have a friend who well, a next friend who kind of sold out her transness a little bit.
Mm.
But no, that's awesome. It's super you're super inspirational in that regard.
Oh,
Um
thanks.
so
It's funny to talk about the numbers. When I was about to reach 10,000, I was like obsessed with the follow count for like just that short while. It took forever. I only needed like 600 more, and it felt like the longest like 3 or 4 weeks
yeah,
of my life. And it just, I
yeah.
was like, I was also trying to post like more sexy stuff to get more followers and stuff. And then after I hit it, I was like, well, it's kind of just a number. So after that, I just stopped focusing on the number, and then I just look back at it every now and then. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, and
Huh.
it's just a number.
That
It is
is
just numbers. I feel that.
freaking
I feel
amazing.
that coming. I feel
Yeah,
that coming. Like
yeah,
10's like close but far away. But I feel like after it
yeah.
happens, if it does, um, I'll just be like, okay, whatever. Just let it go. Do my own thing or whatever.
I did.
Not just to switch gears. You said you have two kids. How old were they when you came out?
Oh, okay. So my oldest was 5, and my youngest was 1 at the time.
Oh,
And
wow.
actually, telling my 5-year-old was very interesting
How so?
because he's a 5-year-old, so he's still a kid. So you want to talk to him like a child, but at the same time, you don't want to talk down to him. You want him to understand the importance of it. So what I kind of did was I kind of made a diagram, like a wheel of with the LGBT letters. And I kind of explained to him like what L means, what G means, what T means, and then, like hetero, what that means. And then I drew pictures of our family members, and I asked him to put them where he thought they belonged. So he put his mom in hetero, he put one of his gay cousins like in the gay
Oh,
section,
wow.
and then I asked him to put mine somewhere, so he put it in the hetero. And then I actually said, "Oh, actually, bud." And then I kind of slid it over to the T. And this is already after I explained to him what T stands for and what it means. And then that's kind of how I broke it to him because
Wow.
I
Oh,
had no
that's
other
awesome.
way to do it. And then I also recorded myself. I wanted him to see me as Michaela, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to just all of a sudden be dressed like a girl. So what I did was I recorded myself kind of putting on makeup and putting on a wig and clothes and stuff, and I kind of did like a time lapse. So like it took me maybe like an hour or so, but I time lapsed it into about a minute. And then every now and then I would throw in like a little joke or two for him. That way he could kind of slowly see me turn into
Yeah.
Michaela. And that's the way he took it. And he such a smart boy. He totally got it right away. He did drop a tear. He was a little sad, and he was quiet for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Next thing you knew, he was back to his normal self, and he's been my biggest supporter ever
Oh, that's
since.
That's
awesome. Oh,
incredible.
I love that.
My youngest, on the other hand, is a completely different story. So he was 1 at the time. He was a baby, so I didn't even feel the need to tell him. I figured he would figure it out eventually, and he did when he was about 4, I guess, 4 or 5. And then he decided to tell the world that he still calls me dad. His dad used to be a boy. So we would be in Target, paying for something at the cash register, and he would go to and be like, "Yeah, that's my dad. She used to be a boy." Or we'll be in the bathroom, and he would tell random people in the bathroom, "That's my dad. He used to be a boy." And the bathroom's the worst because my voice is so
Yeah.
deep, and I hate talking in the bathroom. So I would have to like be like, "Shh, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, please."
Yeah. Oh,
Shut
wow.
up.
Yeah. Like being able to using discretion for a young child because they don't obviously they don't know. Like
Yeah.
my 2 year old still calls me dad. I'm not going to people are always like, so when are you going to switch to mama? I was like, I don't want to explain gender dysphoria to 2 year old yet. So I think I'm going to skip it for a bit. Although this stuff may make it a bit of a switch. But that's cool that you
Do you both go by Dada or Dad?
I do, Bree. I think you do something different, right?
Yeah, so I started basically when she was born. So she doesn't know me any other way, and I feel like I'm spoiled in that aspect, but she calls me B or BB.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she
Nice.
Um,
actually has been dropping the dada. like recently. I'm like, where did you even get that? What are those little bastards at school teaching you?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about being called dad,
I'm
Danny?
fine with it. I have the underlying fear that, the bathroom story you just told
Yeah.
me. Like,
Um,
hey, data, and then, like you're in a massive, and everybody starts looking at you like, I don't owe you an explanation.
yeah, it's really strange because I always I was such a zealot for not being called mom just because I didn't earn mom. I didn't birth her. I didn't carry her around in my stomach for 9 months and deal with all that pain. I earned dad by knocking up her mom. But yeah, so but yeah, so dad was kind of like it was like one of those things that I told myself that I earned. But it is weird when like we're at I'm dressed up like a total slut, like I always am. And we're at like the store and she goes, dad, and I'm just like, yep, that's yes, baby. And but yeah, like I don't know, I guess it's different with I guess with her because she's only ever known me as this. But yeah, that your bathroom situation is strange because I feel like I mean, I understand it because uh yeah, I've been in similar things, not with her, but just like in general, and somebody's being like, Danny, how's it going? Good, very good. Thanks for asking. Um, but yeah, so do you
That's
think
pretty
you'll
good.
ever do you think Dada like are you just gonna stick with it? Do you have a how do you feel about it?
So I actually love being a parent. It's like the thing I'm most proud of in life. I
Yeah.
would, I wouldn't trade that for the world. And I'm totally fine being called dada because I'm so proud of it. And like you said, I didn't give birth, so I probably don't deserve the title mom. Plus, my kids have a pretty good mom. She's a really good parent,
Yeah.
and she deserves the title. And I would never want to take that away from her. But I do tell my kids that, as I get older, they might not want to call me dad or dada, and I'll totally understand. They can kind of call me whatever they want as long as it comes from a place of love and respect. I'm pretty sure I'll be okay with it. But for now, I am dada, and I love it.
Yeah. In terms of like and if you don't want to talk about it, feel free, but like when you came out and you said that it broke your marriage up. I know Bree and I have pretty harrowing stories of being accused of murder and things like that. Was yours a pretty like amicable break, or was it I've heard more and more that people are getting just lambasted. Like, how dare you lie to me? How could you do this to me? And or was yours like kind of like supportive, but I can't be with you?
Mine was definitely a roller coaster. So the night I came out to her, I she kind of said, I don't want to be married to a woman, but I want to help you through this. Like I'm here for you, but eventually we will end up getting divorced. And then the next day, I guess she slept on it. The next day she was gone. And I thought she was gone for good, but I guess she just went to stay with her mom for about a week.
Oh
And
wow.
and then she came back and she was upset with me. So the tension was really high for about another week after that. And then she kind of snapped. She's like, okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to be that person. I'm here for you. She was accepting, she was trying to help me out. And for like 5 or 6 months, she was supporting me. She had my back. But I was also 5 or 6 months into hormones. And then when she started seeing Michael, which is my old name, turn into Michaela, when the changes were more apparent, then she kind of pulled apart from me, and then she started resenting me, and then her resent turned to anger, and then it was really bad for a really long time.
Yeah.
So I ended up moving out close to a year after that, and then I was still kind of living as Michael most of the times, and then I transitioned fully about a year and a half after being on hormones. Um, but I will say, yeah, it was bad, and she made my life kind of miserable for a long time. I went to a really bad depression, but now we're at a good place.
Yeah.
She's
That,
not my old best friend like she used to be, but we do get along really well, and the kids see us getting along, and we're fantastic co-parents. I think top notch.
that
So
that's I
things are a
mean,
lot
Awesome.
better with us right now.
yeah, that's so good to hear. I mean, it gives me hope because I've obviously I have to be a co-parent with my ex, and um I had kind of resigned that this was just going to be over. It was over. I was never going to speak to her again. That I hated her. But no, that's cool. That's awesome that y'all were able to kind of establish I guess, a bond that goes beyond the marriage bond. I guess I don't know. Um, but very cool. How I guess do you have any brothers or sisters?
I do. I have two siblings. They're half siblings. I have a younger brother and a younger sister. And actually, my youngest sister is trans herself.
Really?
She actually
No.
came out before me, and I was super jealous, but I came out about 2 or 3 years after her.
Did
That's awesome.
did did she like kind of resent you for that at all? Basically being like, "Don't steal the thunder from me," kind of thing, or
I don't think so. So I actually ended up living with my dad pretty early on when I was about in third grade, and my younger siblings lived with my mom. So we weren't super tight or super close, or at least not as close as I'd like to be. But yeah, she was pretty supportive. I don't think she really knew. I think she was a little surprised when I told her, but she was pretty supportive.
that's so awesome. Um, well, and I guess that's the thing that I've been noticing being out here in LA for the week that I've been out here essentially is like there's a lot more trans people out here than like it's a lot more accepted out here than it is back on the East Coast. Do you run into a lot of trans people in your day to day being out here?
I mean, I'm not sure. Sometimes you really don't know
Yeah,
nowadays.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
true.
true.
But like
You're
if I
really
do
good
see
at it.
someone and maybe they have a little bit of a deeper voice, I want to be like, hey, me too. But you know, you
Yeah,
can't really approach. You don't know if you can approach people or not.
Hey,
But I
yeah.
do see people every now and then.
Well, that's what was so like. I told the story before, but for people who are listening, I got approached by a girl today who saw that I had my face all torn up and asked if I'd had FFS, and was like, it was very much a I just clocked you, obviously, but yeah, it was just nice to have somebody to talk to, and that like they were so um yeah just everywhere, and I feel like it's just much more accepted, much more like smiled upon, especially like the grocery stores and everything. They're just like they look at you, smile, and move on, as opposed to just staring at you like, why does that dude so pretty? Um, but um, but yeah, so have you had a pretty positive experience out here?
Yeah, I've honestly never had a really, really negative experience. So I worked for the post office and I did have one customer who got upset with me because their dog got out and I put a dog hold on their house and stuff. And so they would always kind of attack me and my gender, like, oh, you're just a man, why do you dress like that and stuff. But other than that
Oh
one
wow, that
person,
petty.
yeah.
Oh
But other
wow.
than that one person, I've never really had a really horrible experience. Online is a different thing, but like in real
Oh
life,
yeah,
no one's actually like giving me much of a hard time. I do get a
I
lot of like
have not.
second look glances, especially when I speak, because I know my voice is very manly. I haven't tried changing it. So when I
You they
speak, they're kind of
sound
like they kind of look
really.
at me like a double take, but they usually don't care.
I would wow it's interesting you say that because I would think you sound just like you have a very like a deep feminine voice though you have a like there's a feminine nature to your voice but
Really?
yeah like honestly I thought you would have been like when you said you hadn't worked on it it's like wow really because that's awesome
Oh wow,
you sound
thanks.
amazing
I
Yeah.
tried working on it, but I just kind of sounded like a really pathetic Mickey Mouse. So I was just more embarrassed by that than anything. So I just dropped it. This is my woman voice. So if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you people.
I actually
yeah
thoroughly love that you do that because
Yeah.
I really don't try that often at all. Like
Yeah.
this is mostly what you get when you get me. I do have a customer service voice that I turn on when I have to.
Can I hear
It's
it?
oh sure, you can hear it perfectly fine. You
Nice.
know, can I? What officer? You need my. I got pulled over and I did like a couple weeks ago and I just turned it on. Oh, my
I
registration's in
was
here
going so
somewhere. I
fast
swear to God. Oh shit, my insurance card has my old name on it.
oh
Here.
my stars and garters oh no
Yeah. I was
um
getting out of that ticket until he saw that part.
Did
And
you
I was
did you
like,
kind of squeeze your chest together and try to like,
Oh,
It's
oh,
like,
yeah,
is the
boobs.
data
hey, good
problem,
old boy,
officer?
sure. No, I tried my hardest. I really did. But then he put two and two together and screwed me over. So I got
Oh
to go to
no.
court for that on the
Oh,
6th.
bummer.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good
Can
time.
am I allowed to ask questions to you ladies? Is that cool?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
please
just
do. Yeah.
this is
Okay.
all just a
Tell us
kind
to
of big
shut up if we're
conversation.
talking too much.
So I'll start off with you, Danny. So I
Right.
see the stuff on your face, like the bandages and stuff. So how are you feeling? And if you don't mind mentioning it, like what all did you have done?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so I'm feeling terrible. I had a hairline, the hairline advancement done. That's why I look like I have a little buzz cut, like a little Barbie doll that you shaved the head of. Um, they did a brow lift, they did a brow shave,
Hmm.
they did a rhinoplasty, obviously. A lift, that's why I have, so if you can see, I have little sutures under here. They took fat from my thighs, which I was sitting down to use the bathroom because I do that now, and I noticed these two little holes on the inside of my thighs, and I was like, huh. I guess that's probably where they got it from. But yeah, they did that and they shot it in my cheeks. They did
Wow.
a jaw contouring where they apparently cut my jaw off, took part of it out in the middle, and then fused it back together to make it sharper. And they did a trach shave because they couldn't go without making every part of my everything above right here hurt. Um,
Oh
so
shit! I
yeah,
didn't
but
know you had a trach shave.
it feels I'm super excited about it. So I just want to get on y'all ladies level in terms of hotness. So I'm very clearly doing it right now. Um, but yeah, thanks for asking.
Well,
It is.
congratulations. That must have been such an exciting yet so scary, like going like about to go under the knife like that.
Yeah,
I think
it
we
was
were
weird. Like,
texting, right? Or on Instagram or something, and I was asked talking about like going to sleep with one face and waking up with another. Like that must be such a
yeah,
scary thought.
it's weird. I took a picture in the bathroom, and it was the last picture I have of my face, like where the way it was, and it's never gonna go back to that. So it's like, and it wasn't even like me smiling. It's just for like me like waving bye to myself. But yeah, I'm interested to see how my daughter reacts. We're gonna do a FaceTime before I come back, and I'm just gonna try to convince other people that I just got into a really big fight with Mike Tyson. You should see him. God, I messed him up. Uh, but yeah, are you so I guess to give the full disclosure, so I wanted to see how many surgeries I could get done in a month. So I did orchiectomy on October 9th, um top surgery, so got my boobies on October 16th, and this whole thing on November 8th.
Wow.
So all within 31 days. But
Jeez.
are you interested in that sort of like obviously you have amazing chest growth already. Is that natural or have you gotten top surgery?
No, I did have top surgery.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
phew.
about four
Goodness,
years
I was
ago.
like, damn.
And then about 4 months ago, I actually got a fat transfer or BBL.
Oh
So
yeah.
they
Oh
suck the fat
damn!
out of places where you don't want it, and they put it in places where you do. So they took it from my neck, under my arms, a lot from my belly, a little bit from my back, and they put it into my butt and hips. And I actually had to put a little bit more in the breasts for like a more natural like jiggle, I guess.
Yeah. So actually, let me ask you about that because I'd been looking into that. Somebody had convinced me that that's like the most dangerous surgery because if the surgeon messes up and injects it into like the muscle or something like that, it can get into your bloodstream. But have you heard of this or like was that something that you had thought about, or is that all hippity hoopla?
I heard a lot of that from other people when I was because what I did was I started a GoFundMe actually,
Oh,
and
awesome.
I earned the money on social media, and that's when people were reaching out
Badass.
saying that's actually like the most dangerous thing. You shouldn't do that, all this stuff. But my doctor didn't mention any of that stuff, so I was like, I'm sure he would if it was that dangerous.
Why would
So I kind
he?
of just
Yeah.
I trusted the process and pretty happy with the results. I was really hoping for like a little bit of a bigger booty, kind of like a J Lo booty or like a Nicki
Yeah.
Minaj. But he didn't want to go too crazy, so he gave me a nice subtle figure, and he really brought in my waist and he brought out my hips, and I'm really happy with the results.
Is it Would you say that like had you tried doing all the exercising? Because I noticed that like my flanks, I tried doing cool sculpting and that didn't really affect it as much. And I've basically just stopped eating, and that's done kind of the negative to everything. But did you notice that like it really gave you the hourglass figure doing the BBL?
It definitely did. I every now and then I'll join the gym and have a membership for like a year, and I'll go like 2 or 3 times during that year. But I just never dedicate myself to working out.
Yeah.
And I
So
did
what's a gym?
exactly. I was so I work for the post office. I've been there for 18 years, and I delivered mail for the first 15 years. So that kind of kept me in somewhat decent shape. But yeah, I've never had feminine curves until the BBL. So
Really? That is super amazing. I honestly had thought about it. I got a quote for it and almost did it, but maybe I'll look back into it because yeah, I mean, of course I got to get every part of me cut up
well, there's still time for the rest of this month, so you got to
right?
get in it.
Yeah, because I don't think I've endured enough uh pain right now. But yeah, so are you have you considered like anything facial wise? I mean, you're obviously like absolute stunning. So
Oh, thank you. I did early on. So in order to get the breast augmentation, I had to get two signatures from therapists.
yeah.
And the way they did it was kind of like a group session with other trans girls that wanted other surgeries as well. And in that session, I explained that I really want breast augmentation and probably facial fem. And when I said that, I felt like I kind of got attacked by people. They were calling me dumb, like
Yeah.
literally saying that I was stupid if I touched my face. And even though I didn't feel like I had a feminine face, but they were all like, if you do it, you might not like the results. I think you
Wait,
do it now, maybe consider it or wait a little bit and see how you feel. Um,
really? They had the audacity to tell you
yeah.
that's so interesting.
One girl literally said, "Are you effing kidding me? Like that would be so stupid." And I was like, okay,
Heck,
I'll
okay, I see
reconsider.
you.
Well, it's so interesting because like have you heard the term brick? Do you know this term?
Brick?
A brick, like a trans person who puts zero effort into transitioning, like
No.
doesn't shave, doesn't like has will have a full beard, will still speak in masculine mannerisms, but basically just wants to be she her, but everything else is as masculine as. But I work with a couple of bricks, and I've told them that I wanted to get FFS, and I got that same result of, why are you going to cut your face up? And it's like, why don't I mean, I feel like it's the same. They can't criticize me because I'm not allowed to criticize them. So, we do, I guess, what we have to do to get where we want to go, and it sounds like you were considering doing that. But I mean, obviously, like I'm glad you didn't because you're stunning. But
Thank
um
you. I'll
um
stop it.
but yeah, I don't know. I told myself that I had gotten to a level as I was a certain level of attractiveness as a guy, and I told myself that if I wasn't there or higher as a girl, then what was the point for some reason? Um as opposed to just living my truth wasn't enough happiness wise. So that's why I did all this stuff, and also it was covered by insurance. But yeah, and actually, one thing that I didn't want to ask about, I know you said you never really had like a negative interaction. And one of the things that I like to ask people is, do you think that like I know some of us get treated better because of the way we look, like the sort of the pretty privilege? Do you feel like you benefit from that, or I know a lot of people get hounded on because they don't look as femme. The bricks, the people who don't put as much effort in.
Um, I don't know, because I look at myself, I look in the mirror, and I still see a lot of manly features, but I get compliments from a lot of other people. So, I mean, maybe I got pretty privileged, but I still don't see myself as pretty. I still see kind of like Michael with makeup on. So,
Really?
yeah.
Is that like,
Same.
do you think there's anything that, I mean, like, I honestly, I did this because of that same thing. Like, I was seeing, I saw progress towards from David to Daniel, God, from David to Danielle, but it was so small that I still attribute it back to, because it had to be one or the other. And as it's going over, everything's just getting attributed back to David. But so I did this because it was going to be a drastic change all at once. And do you do you have any advice for people who are just starting out to like how to think about that, like, and to be accepting of after 7 years, 6 years on hormones, you're still going to be attributing a lot of your stuff to masculine features.
Um, what do you mean by the question? I'm sorry.
Like I guess do you have any I guess I'm trying to think of what to really say in terms of like just telling people that yeah, it sadly it is we are going to see we you will still see a masculine person if in the mirror probably because we all do and we're all our worst critic. I know like a lot of people were when I told people I was doing this because of that, they were like, "Why you look so feminine?" But it's like I still saw David. So I did this to get rid of it. I mean, I figured somebody who's been doing this for 7 years, I would have thought maybe you had um gone into seeing only Michaela, but it's interesting that you don't and you see masculine features. Do you think there's a way to get beyond that, or is that just going to be with you for good?
I think after all this time, I'm not sure that'll ever go away. But I also see myself as a trans person differently than I think a lot of other trans people do. I feel like me personally, I'm never gonna be like a real woman. I'm trying my best. But I know I'm always gonna be a trans woman. So where was I going with this? Sorry, a little brain fart here.
No,
Um,
it's no. I mean, like honestly, I agree too, and I at a certain point, I don't really want to be like people are like, you should call yourself. Because I'll say I'm a trans woman, and they're like, oh, you're a woman. It's like, well, I don't have periods. There's so many things that we don't have to endure. Like like I got to reap the benefits for 37 years of being a white nerd, and I definitely would not be where I am career wise had I not just soaked up that white male privilege. But yeah, there's so
I think
many
I
things.
always have the male mentality. Like I'll give you, I
Yeah,
tell people this all the time. Like, you know how they when the Titanic was going down, they say women and children first.
yeah.
Me personally, I wouldn't get off with the women and children. I would probably wait and hold off with the men. If I was good at sports, I would never play on an all women's team because me
Yeah,
personally, I feel like that wouldn't be right. So
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess we did. I did spend 37 years getting high on my own supply of testosterone. I was mainlining that T, so I got built some muscles. Did you before you started transitioning? Was there anything that you did to like any beard stuff that you did? Like I, for my beard, for me was to work out a whole bunch and grow big muscles because I wanted to pretend like I liked the body that was in the mirror. I know everybody has like these beards that they put on, whether it's
Mhm.
dressing a certain way, but something that you were using to hide the fact that you were different on the inside.
I mean, not really. I did have a beard as Michael since the day I could start growing a beard, which was
Oh, an actual
actually
beard.
a lot later than normal. But I didn't do it to try to hide Michaela, I guess. I just did it because I don't know, I thought it looked good at the time. So if it's okay, can I go into the kind of like my whole transition like little
Yeah,
story thing?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
please do.
So I knew around the time of 5 or 6 that I was different. And I started trying on girls' clothes and stuff and feel and being like, oh, this feels right. And maybe when I was about 12 years old or so, I was watching uh the Jerry Springer show with my dad, and I saw my first trans woman. It was this lady, she was very pretty. She was in a blue bikini, I remember that. And then she confessed to the audience that she was born a man. And I was like, wait a second, but she has boobies. How does that work? So fast forward to about, I don't know, 13, 14, I learned the word transsexual, which is when you get operations to look like a woman. And then I didn't even hear the word transgender till I was about 25, 26 maybe, where you could just, because I kind of I feel like transsexuals are more related to the adult industry, and transgender were more like people just living as the gender that they chose. That was just what I
Interesting.
knew. I didn't know a lot of it.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much exactly what it is.
Oh, is it?
I,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
honestly, I never knew. I just kind of assumed it was all sort of this amorphous blob of terms. But
Yeah. And then
was there?
so in high school, um I knew that I wanted to graduate, and then my plan was to get a job. And I felt like, you can't tell anybody about this. I had kind of keep it a secret. So I was going to get a job, save up some money, move far away from all my friends and family, and then transition on my own,
Wow,
kind of
you did that in
disappear
high
from the
school. That's
world
awesome.
in high school. And I graduated high school and I started my plan. My first job was at a retail store and I started saving, but then I met my ex-wife and I fell in love hard. So I kind of pushed Michaela in the back burner and focused on this person who I really loved. And I thought, okay, well, I could be Michael for this person because I love her. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
stayed Michael. We got married. It was around maybe 24, 25, where I was like, okay, I really want to come out to her. I want to be myself. We're really in love. Maybe she'll actually accept me. And then she got pregnant. And so I thought, okay, well, now I have to be a parent.
Wow.
I have to be a dad. I have to be a male role model for my kid. And a couple years later, we had another kid.
Yeah,
And
wow.
then I always told myself, if I had never transitioned by 30, I would probably never transition. So when I turned 30, I went into, I don't think it was a depression. I was just really bummed out about the situation. A year later, I started talking to people. I came out to a couple of family members of mine, and then I went to a support group. And the next thing you knew, I finally came out at 31 and started
Oh
telling people
wow.
I was trans.
That
You
was there
basically
any?
said my exact same story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, was there any? I know for me, like I have these indelible memories from when I was like 5 and 6 that like conversations that I almost verbatim had with my parents that were like, this was a telltale sign that y'all should have asked questions. Do you have any like any of those memories of like I tried on a girl's skirt this time and it stuck in your brain or anything like that from when you were really little?
Yeah, I remember, like I said, when I was 5 or 6, I like one of my cousins left like a little like sundress behind, and I kind of kept it in my room, and every now and then I would put it on. And like I said, it just felt right. Like I don't know, it just
Yeah.
felt like, oh, this is kind of the way it should be. And then of course when I was at school, I was jealous of other little girls and the clothes they used to wear and stuff. And actually, I remember the moment I realized something was different about me. We were maybe 6 years old playing Red Rover. Remember the game Red
Yeah.
Rover, and so right over. My teacher used to separate us from boys on one side holding hands, girls on the other side holding hands. And I used to want to be on the girls' side so bad. And that's how I knew, okay,
Wow.
maybe something's up with me.
Yeah. No, honestly, that sort of drive. I think for me, as initially, I was told because I'm old. I was told that that was just I was hypersexualizing femininity, and it was like that I from an early age I was told that like I was just very into women, not because I wanted to be one but because I wanted to, I guess, have sex with them. My doctors were weird. um but yeah, that's awesome that you have those. I mean, I love those memories. I have like a couple of them from when like I had conversations with my parents and can go back and like describe what they were wearing and everything at the time because it was just so ingrained in my brain. Um, did you? Oh, sorry. Go. You were saying something?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So you said that when you were younger, you were like talking to your parents saying this should have given me away. Like, what
Yeah.
were you talking about? Like, what did you think you did
Oh,
back then?
it was like we were pretending to be dogs. And of course, when you're playing make believe, you can be anything you want. And so I went to my mom and like very explicitly asked if it was okay when I'm a dog if I could be a girl dog.
Oh,
And she was just wait, she's not in the room. Okay, she's not here. She was like, yeah, okay, sure, why not? And then there were all these other times where like, I wanted an easy bake oven where all the other kids were getting little GI Joes and things. I wanted all these like kind of girly things. And like I wanted a pink what are those Power Wheels, but they had to get me the man one because or the boy one.
Was
But
that
like
the Bigfoot?
there's all these things that I would ask for that they were just like, either yeah, if it was pretend, I was allowed to pretend, but I could never actually do it. But yeah, so Bree, do you have any? Was there anything that I guess we've never really asked?
Yeah,
It's
there's
a fun
plenty.
interview.
I had a huge one. And I think I've told it maybe not, oh my God, 9 episodes ago. But I was in charge of the lost and found at my elementary school, and we had to do the yearly clean out and everything else. So we were kind of scraping everything together for Goodwill. And I had my backpack over in a corner, and I was just taking all the girl shit that I thought would fit me at that point, and I was just shoving it in that bag, like making sure nobody's looking, like being sketch as fuck, and just shoving it in my backpack. And then I took it home and put it in this trunk that I would keep locked. And I would go visit my dad every summer. He lived in Utah at the time, so I'd be gone for 2 to 3 months. And my mom was nosy as shit, and then she broke into that trunk while I was gone. And when I came back, there was no lock on it, and I was like, "Fuck!" Um, so of course, her and my dad talked, and they sent me to some therapist because I was a deviant little boy. And
How dare you?
they're like, why the hell are you cross-dressing at 9 years old? And it's like, I don't know, whatever. So that was a really big one. And they just, I grew up in Texas, so that was shoved under the rug pretty hard, um, as they say. And it was just kind of, they thought I had something wrong with me, and this therapist was trying to like wring me clean of any of it. And it didn't work, obviously.
Yeah.
So
I
there, the signs were there, but they were chosen to be ignored.
see.
Yeah.
I don't think I gave myself away when I was younger. Like I didn't play with any girl toys. Never wanted girl toys. I was a huge fan of Ninja Turtles, and
Oh yeah, hell
actually I
yeah.
still am.
Same.
I still love
Uh,
Ninja Turtles. I have actually you can't see it on camera, but I have a whole corner like a shrine to the 80s, 90s Ninja Turtles.
that's
And
Good
awesome.
for you. I love it.
That's
it
awesome.
wasn't I never gave myself away. Like I never got caught. I never mentioned anything. I was really good at keeping it in. But I lived with my mom for 1 year in high school. She lived in Utah, and I used to dig into her closet and go through her clothes and stuff like that. And she mentioned that her clothes were put back like inside out, or they would be on the floor, or they would just be like stretched or whatever. And so when I did come out to her, she was like, I kind of had my suspicions a long time ago, but I really thought it was just a phase.
Did you
Yeah.
did you say Utah? What part?
Utah, yeah, my mom moved to Utah when I was about 9 or 10, and she lived there for quite a while, and now she lives in Texas.
Oh wow.
What the
Um
what
I stayed in California with my dad.
are you just repeating everything that I just said?
Are we twins?
uh,
Like
um
my dad, I lived in Park City for 10 years, and then or 5, and then I went to college in South Utah. But yeah, I've been in Texas for cumulative 20 years, 25 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember Park City, the Alpine Slide. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
That thing's
Did you ever
cool. I
go
like
when
that.
the Alpine roller coaster was there? Because I helped to build that.
No, that's
Do
cool.
not go on it. It is not safe.
Oh, okay.
Miguel, I did want to dig in. So you're like when you came out to your parents, what was their reaction? Are they supportive now? Like it seems like when we come out later on in life, our parents either take it really tough or are like super supportive. But how was your experience?
It was mostly positive. So, like I said, my mom, I'm pretty sure she was already in Texas at the time when I came out to her. Unfortunately, I'm in California, so I had to do it over the phone. But when I told her, she had already had my youngest sibling come out a couple years earlier.
Oh yeah,
So
oh yeah,
she was surprised, probably because I never gave any hints away besides what she thought when I was maybe, going through her closet when I was 15 or so. Um, but she was very supportive and understanding. She was more concerned about what was going to go on with my marriage, my kids and stuff. But
yeah.
about the whole gender thing, she didn't really care all that much, I guess. She was
Really?
very accepting, and actually is such a huge supporter now that for a while there, when we were doing like I was on a show called The Transvengers on Twitch with a few other
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
trans
right.
girls.
I've heard of
She
that.
was kind of known as like the trans mom. Like she's the mom that would be
That's
like
awesome.
at a convention, like giving mom hugs to people who need it. Like she's that kind of
Oh,
mom now. My dad, on the other hand, very surprising his reaction. So my ex-wife kind of made me sit down with him and come out to him. And when I did, he took it really hard. But he didn't take it hard because his son was going to become a woman. He took it hard. He kind of blamed himself. He said, "My child was in pain all these years and
oh
in hiding,
wow.
and I didn't even realize it. I wasn't even there for her." And he took it really hard on himself. Um, and then after I got divorced, we kind of had a falling out. Like he kind of picked the wrong side. But now, about a year after that, we didn't talk for about a year. Now he is another huge supporter. He is so proud of me. He calls me Mija, which is my daughter in Spanish. And he's
Oh,
always
that's
bragging
so
about me to his
cute.
friends and stuff. And we have just the greatest relationship right now. We're really tight, kind of like the way we used to be when I was
Yeah.
a younger kid.
And so I assume that they've put in a lot of effort into the gender pronouns and everything and making sure not to misgender you and everything.
They do try their best, but they still screw up all the time.
Okay.
And my dad's pretty good at quickly changing it. And my mom was like, "Well, I forget." Like she makes it like it's not a big deal, and it doesn't bother me. Like I know they try their best, and they do correct it if they need to.
Yeah. I think that's really the big thing is how do they feel afterwards? Like I know when my mom she does it all the time and you can see that kind of like self like reflection like oh crap how did I let this happen again. I feel like there's a lot of parents who just sort of see it as like this thing that we load onto them like oh hey by the way could if you could do this and it's like this annoyance that they have to do for us. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you had like a positive or that it all turned out good in the end.
Looking at it from their point of view, that's got to be kind of hard, right? Like you grow up with someone their entire life, and then all of a sudden you have to switch pronouns and names. Like I don't know anybody who I've known for a long time, and then they switch genders, and then I have to switch pronouns. Like I bet you that's got to be pretty difficult.
Yeah, I guess that's maybe I'm coming at it from just sort of a because I'm the only one that I know in my immediate family that's done it. But like, I feel like it's one of those things. If you love somebody, you'll do. It really doesn't matter. It's like the whole those who mind don't matter, those who matter don't mind, kind of thing. But
Beautiful.
and, they'll put effort into kind of like thinking about what you want to do. If somebody like I had a friend who got a PhD, and after a while, like, you had to refer to him as doctor, and it's like these stupid little things that you do because somebody does something and they want to be appreciated for it. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people try to take my transition on as like their own personal pain. Um, like we had the other day we were on a live and my cousin came on, and I love my cousin to death, but she told this story about how she like had to go into grieving for a little bit when I came out, and it was like that she was grieving the loss of her cousin, and it was like, but I'm still here, I'm still alive, I still have all the memories that we've ever had together. You're just gonna be able to try my clothes on now. So I don't know, did you have like that sort of reaction with anybody, friends or family?
Of
Like
what do you
just where they like they almost like made it about themselves and uh they needed time to grieve extra because for some reason our transition has immediately affected them.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially my ex-wife, and probably my parents
Mm.
too, in a way, like you're kind of saying goodbye to who you were and saying welcoming this new person. Like I don't think it's not a death in any way, but I think you kind of go through the process of grieving a little bit. And I think my ex-wife had the hardest time with that. Like she
Yeah.
blames Michaela for taking away her husband Michael, and totally
Mm,
resented me for a long time because of it.
Yeah.
yeah, we both went
Yeah.
through that also with the whole murderer thing. you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, we both got called murderers. And
Both of you?
no, sorry, what was it?
Oh, you're both called murderers? Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, mine came out and was like,
literally both of our
yeah,
wives were like,
Oh my gosh.
you she stared at me across from the couch and was like, you murdered my husband. Like if I could, and I get it, it's a lot of rage to process, but she was basically like, if I could kill you and get away with it, I would,
Well,
because you took away so much from me.
yikes.
yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of that goes on. Of they treat it like this wasn't like this was this thing that we just like chose to hide, and it wasn't like I feel like a lot of people see like transitioning as like it's going to be this pie in the sky. It's going to be easy, and you know, we do it because it's in vogue now. Um, but yeah, like I don't know. I guess for me, I wrestled with it for a good 5 or 6 years. From when I first came out to when like I actually like came out and stayed out. Um, where it was like I mean, and I know this is the wrong way to think about it, and y'all can tell me. But I like for a while considered like a mental disability within myself. I was like, I can't appreciate the body that I'm in. I even asked my therapist if they could shock me in the brain and make me appreciate the body. I would like give me electroshock therapy to fix me, quote unquote. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I've been told calling it like thinking of it as a mental disability was not really the right way to do it. Um, but yeah, also then giving everybody kind of leeway to be upset about it along with me, but treating it like I was like choosing this path was very interesting to kind of like just be that punching bag for everybody. Um, but yeah,
I think it's hard for people to understand that we don't choose this for ourselves. Like we don't, me personally, I say all the time, I kind of hate being trans. Like it is not a fun experience. If there was a magic pill I could have taken back in the day that would make me happy living as a man, I would have taken that in a heartbeat.
yeah, right. Like, and that's the thing is like I love who I am. But if I could have enjoyed being David, yeah, I really would have. I mean, that's like I was willing to go under electroshock therapy if it was possible. Apparently, it's illegal. But yeah, that's interesting you say that. Do you like why do you feel that way? Like, do you think it was because that's how we were supposed to be? It would make other people happy.
Um, I think for me, it's the loss I encountered. Like I took the loss of my wife and my kids so hard. So that's why I just say like I would never choose this for myself. Like this is just the way it is. It's the way my heart feels. Like I don't
Yeah,
want to be trans. I just am, unfortunately.
yeah, and yeah, I think that's a really yeah, I think that's a really mature way to look at it. Is like it's we wouldn't wish this on anybody. Like that's the thing. When everybody's like, "Oh, you're a groomer. You're trying to turn people trans." It's like, no, 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 no. I don't want to be this way. Even I wish I could have appreciated. Like it was easy being a white dude. It was so easy. I like you
Right.
could just walk into a
Shit.
place like walk into a job interview and be like, "Hey, look, I'm white and semi-smart." And they'd be like, "You're hired." Um, but um, but yeah, like it was an easy life. And so I kind of resent when people say, "Oh, we're grooming people, we're grooming these kids to be trans." And it's like, no, that was the COVID shot, right? Sorry, I'm not allowed to laugh. I'm not allowed to laugh. I tell people
I
that
wouldn't
yeah,
wish
it
being
was
trans on my worst enemies. It's a hard life, isn't it?
yeah, but it's
Yeah, it
also good.
is.
Like there are some really good benefits to it though. Like I guess like what are your was
Well,
there
boobs are fun.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
boobs are great. Is there anything that you when you started transitioning you weren't expecting like the way people treat you, the way you feel about yourself, that changed that like, was like a pleasant surprise?
Yeah, it's just my physical appearance, I think, because when I was on hormones, I didn't present as female for almost a year on hormones. And actually like I hid my hair growth under a beanie. I wore a beanie all year round, even in the summer, because I didn't want everyone to see how long it was getting. I was starting to develop breasts, and so I would wear like a really, really, really tight like training bra almost to kind of keep it tight and flush
Yeah.
against my skin. Um, but eventually, even though I was still trying to pass as male, I started being properly gendered. Even though I was trying to pass as male, they were correctly gendering me as Miss or Ma'am. And
Yeah.
so I wasn't expecting that at all. And so then I was finally like, okay, well, I guess it's time. Maybe I could take this off and finally come out and be full time.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was it's so interesting thinking about it because I had a friend who was like, I'm about to go out. Like they were talking about having like longish hair. And they were like, like you were saying, you hid it under a beanie. I remember mine was I painted my fingernails and I was terrified of going out and people seeing my fingernails and being like, oh wow, it's a trans person. Because apparently that's like the one indicators. But yeah, like every step along the way, wearing nail polish, wearing women's like I used to wear baggy women's clothes, and then they, when they got tighter and shorter and sluttier, every step was terrifying. Did you find that like did you dive in full bore or did you start like with small increments like like growing your hair out, maybe wearing like women's jeans before wearing shorts?
No, well, like I said, like I was kind of in hiding on hormones for about a year, still trying to pass as male. And then I all of a sudden I kind of set myself because I was out at work, but I was still going to work as Michael. So I kind of set myself a date where I was like, okay, I think it's time. I'm going to on this day, I'm gonna go in as myself, hair, makeup. I got a women's male uniform for work. And so I kind of went from man to woman in like one day.
Oh wow.
And
That's
um it was kind of a crazy experience, but I guess since I was on hormones for so long, it kind of worked out. I
were
remember I remember going to work as myself for the first time was one of the scariest days of my life because like I said,
oh, I can
people at work already
imagine.
knew because I had came out about 6 months earlier. But I showed up to work and I just lived like across the street. So I was walking to work fully as Michaela, makeup and hair and stuff. And I was so like I kept my head down because I didn't know what anybody was gonna say. And there was one uh coworker of mine who just looked up at me and said, "Oh, hey Mike," and then looked back down. And I was like, that
Oh,
was that was pretty easy, I guess.
damn.
Because I wasn't going by Michaela then either. I was like, well, that wasn't too bad. So then I went into the office and I was doing my work and stuff, and people didn't even know it was me the very first day. They thought I was a new carrier at the post office. And
It's
it wasn't
awesome.
until the next day when people were like, oh, that's Mike or whatever. But now then they approached me. They were like, oh my gosh, you look so great. We had no idea. You look fantastic. Like, what's your name now? Like, what do you go by? Can we finally say she, her and stuff? And it was like in a day
That's
or two,
awesome.
like a full transition. It was pretty cool.
Um, wow, that's such a great. I love it. I've heard so many horror stories of people going in and like feeling they're going to get fired because of like people reacting poorly. One thing I didn't want to ask you. I know I've noticed that you say your old name a lot. How do you feel about that name? Like I know for me personally, I'm proud of who David was. Like David did a lot of crap he was a nerd. He was a fucking geek. But he got me to where I am now. And so I'm like, I almost like celebrate David for who he was and I don't hate saying it. I've noticed that you don't seem to like shy away from it as
Yeah,
much.
I don't people call it their dead name, but I
Yeah.
don't I feel like to me that's harsh. To me, I lived a good life as Michael. Like I'm proud of a lot of things that I did and that, I had a family, wife, kids. I did the whole guy thing and I didn't have a bad experience with it. It didn't feel right internally, like I knew I was supposed to be Michaela, but I'm not ashamed of who I was before I was Michaela. So I don't mind saying that my old name.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do shy away from mine, and it's because I've hated my name my entire life. It's a shit name in my opinion.
Oh,
Um, and I've never said it on any out, you know, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Any platform whatsoever, not even here. And I do respect the man that I left behind. He did do a lot, but he drove for a really, really long time. And now I've put him in the trunk and it's my turn to drive. Um, but you know what? Fuck it. I will say it.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
No. My old name was Brandon.
You're
And
right. That is a crappy name.
it is a crappy name, right? Actually,
Bruh.
my dad wanted to name me Seaborn, so I guess that's better.
What?
Yeah.
How
So
does
he
that make you
named his
feel saying
boat
that out
that
loud?
instead.
Finally, is it weird to say that out loud?
It does.
Yeah.
It does feel weird. And I drove driving here during my move. I of course had to drive through Brandon, Mississippi. So I saw my old name
Well,
everywhere.
and
Oh, God, that
one
feels weird.
and
Huh.
I guess we'll probably dig deeper into this in the after hours. But I know like for me personally, I came out here and jumped on Tinder immediately because that's what I wanted to do apparently. And I have been in this I know people say it's really weird, but like I will swipe left on like I'll try to match with a David even if he's not as attractive just because I think it's so funny. That'd be so funny to end up dating somebody named David because my parents could just have one back in the family then. Um, but I know that there's a lot of people who kind of like shy away from it. Like when you meet somebody who has your old name, do you like sort of see them in like you like revel in that, or is it just not phase you?
Well, for me, like there's so many Michaels out there. I hear it all the time, but I finally
Mhm.
don't turn my head when I hear the name Michael
Yeah.
like I used to. But I mean, even in the media and stuff, it's like Michael's such a popular name, so it's
Yeah.
just another name. It's not my name anymore.
Yeah, I just know like I've like we've talked to people in the past who like when they like if they go on the dating apps and they see somebody who has their old name, they will immediately swipe right because they don't want to see it, they don't want to be around it.
Oh,
I find it so interesting how some people will, um, yeah, like that name becomes almost like Voldemort to them, like the name that shan't be named. Um, uh,
can I
but
ask what is your love lives like now? Are
oh
you
yeah,
guys single, married, in relationships?
I
what?
am recently divorced.
Okay.
The papers went through probably a month ago. Um, so I am single and sort of mingling, I guess. But
Okay.
yeah, it's it's interesting. It doesn't feel it feels bad at times, just having me, myself, and I, and Bubba over here who's sleeping. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really not feeling settling down with anybody for a long time. I just got out of an 8-year relationship. I'm not trying to dive back into anything and make a mistake, as it were. I'm just going to be me for a while and
Nice.
you know, get my 20s back because I never
Yeah.
had them.
Are you having fun living the single life as your true self?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's yeah, I'm known to be the rabbit of the group. So,
Oh
people put
yeah,
those two
no,
together.
yeah. Yeah, Bree is I live my sexual fantasies through Bree. So one thing I actually Bree mentioned, I did want to ask you like Bree mentioned like living her 20s. I know like I noticed for me when I fully came out as trans, I kind of like mentally reverted to an age that I really wanted to be. Like I would have gone back to maybe not freshman or junior, but like or freshman or sophomore, but like junior, senior year of college, and kind of like started acting almost like you're sort of speed running the college years as a girl, like doing, dressing in a certain way, just acting as if I were like a college, but 20 lower 20 somethings. Did you when you came out, did you revert to a certain age or did you just kind of like keep straight on like a 31, 32-year old
Yeah, well, I saw that a lot. I saw that a lot of trans girls wear like short dresses all the time and skirts and heels and stuff like that. And I just kind of never wanted to be like that. So
really?
I always purposely tried to dress actually kind of tomboy at first. And I always tried to,
Yeah.
I kind of tried to dress my age for the most part because I never wanted to be that trans girl that's running around in like a little mini skirt and stuff like that.
Oh my God. I can't. I don't have a fucking body for
Yeah.
it.
It,
So
it is
again, what's a
interesting.
gym?
Yeah, like the trans women who I know, like a lot of will go down. Like when Barbie came out, I knew some people who were like, upper 40s, in their 40s, maybe early 50s, who were going out and dressing in like these like short skirts and kind of like living this like because they wanted to have been I've played with Barbies when they were younger, so they're like, well, now is my time to do it. And that one kind of gets me. I'm like, I don't think I could do that. But I did regress to being like a college slut for a while. Maybe not physically, but I tried. I tried my best.
I think with trans women, especially, I think they were just probably men for so long that when they finally get to be women, they're so excited to wear all the girly, feminine things that they wanted to wear all those years. But for me,
That's
when I
it.
tried doing that, to me, I felt like maybe I was trying a little too hard and I just didn't want to stand out. So
Yeah.
I also don't know anything about fashion and stuff like that. Like I like doing my hair and makeup, but I don't know anything about dresses and clothes and stuff. So I just used to wear a t-shirt, tank top, and shorts all
Oh
the
yeah.
time.
Yeah, baby. Um,
It actually wasn't until I got my BBL that I actually kind of started embracing my femininity. Now I'm starting to wear more dresses and skirts, especially for work and stuff. But I didn't do that before because I just felt like I also couldn't pull it off.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess there is sort of that feeling of and the imposter syndrome is big. Like even though I have these C's boobs now, even going out in a tank top. Like I went out to the ice machine, which now works apparently. The ice machine in a tank top, and I felt like I was like I don't know. I felt like people were gonna look at it and be like, why does he have boobs? But yeah, I don't know. There was a level of like dressing like a tomboy kind of gave me this reprieve from having to fully embrace like the imposter syndrome, I guess. But that's interesting that the BBL helped with that because I have seen people who, yeah, they start wearing skimpier and skimpier things around then. I know for me, I really wanted cocktail dresses. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
As I
Well, shit.
say it
I
like
didn't
this.
I didn't I didn't like start wearing dresses until maybe 4 months ago. Um, when these started like filling out, I got touched by the boob fairy pretty hard, pretty quick.
Those are
Um,
natural with hormones only.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
hmm
Well, good for you.
yeah, that's
Yeah, shut
as
up,
I
Bree.
Show off.
but I definitely dove into the dress thing and started getting some that, cut down a little lower, cleaving a little bit. But it's getting those features on board finally is like really affirming into what you can be confident in wearing in public. Like when I first started out, I was andro as shit for like three,
Yeah.
4, 5 months. It was like chick sweaters, and that's about it. And now
Andro is
I'm
androgynous, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
yes, yes,
gotcha.
yes, it is. So it's basically when I was coming out at work, it was a lot of andro shit, and it was I was they them for like a month because I was trying for my ex. She could stay with an andro or a non-binary person, but once I tipped into the transgender category, it was over very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it is what it is. We've come to terms, and she's probably one of I would call her one of my champions. She never misgenders me ever, and even though my parents still do on accident, but she never does. And we now live 20 feet away from each other. She's across the
Oh
yard
wow.
in the other house. Yeah,
Can I
Um,
ask, I heard you both have had orchiectomies, right?
yeah,
yeah, within a
Okay.
week of each other.
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah.
They
yeah.
I
slipped off
had
together.
mine on October the 13th. I definitely thought I was going to die. But,
Oh,
I wanted to
you
ask a
know,
question about that because I have a love-hate relationship with my, can I say penis on the show?
yeah.
how dare
Penis,
you?
My
dick,
with my
wiener, schlong.
penis.
Ding dong.
We say pee and no, yeah.
Well, I like
I
it
can't
for,
laugh.
sexual experiences, but I hate it every other time. But when I actually look at it, like when I pop a tuck, it's mostly my balls that I feel give me away, like the bulge and stuff. So I feel like maybe if I snip those and X them and just kind of kept the main part, it might work out for me. But I wanted to ask, does it still function
Yep.
I
normally?
got I got this.
Oh.
So getting the nuts snipped. Normally when I've never like tucked per se. I just put my undies on in a certain way and then it just
Okay.
kind of goes back up where it comes from. But now that they're not in the way, um, your PP can go where the boys used to be. So now I can not even any effort at all, just undies, yoga pants, and I'm flat as a board in the front.
Nice.
You, you
Yeah,
know,
there's there
And that's
when
all
usually
because
I
the huevitos are gone, right?
yeah the huevitos are say la vie goodbye.
Huevitos.
But now
Whatever.
yeah they were huevos then they became huevitos on HRT. But
Can can you still get an erection and use it?
yeah I can. So normally I had a pretty big issue with that early on with my HRT. I started getting like ED like crazy, right? Um, I honestly, and I'll tell anybody this, I take Cialis and I have no issues whatsoever.
Nice.
None. Yeah. Yeah. So it's I'm fully functional, everybody who's
Yeah.
listening.
It, I think the thing that it does is like obviously it alleviates the need to take spironolactone, but it also for me it doesn't really affect my tucking ability because the skin is still there and still so baggy that like I constantly have bulge.
Oh,
Um, the only thing that I've really noticed is like I guess I must have had more testosterone running through my system than I thought because like as soon as I got the orchiectomy, I noticed that like my face softened a whole bunch like really quickly over the course of like 2 or 3 weeks. Um my mental state leveled out. Like I wasn't getting um sad angry anymore. And yeah, it was like there were these small benefits that I noticed that like getting rid of them helped out with that I wasn't expecting. Initially, and like the one benefit that I was hoping for tucking has not been a benefit. Like it's still the same for me. I still have
oh,
uh yeah, still look like I'm packing.
Well, we still have a couple more months because that skin will eventually atrophy back up even more flat than it
Well,
oh,
is
that's
now.
cool. I didn't know that.
well,
Yeah, it
but like
does. I mean, it's
the,
just like a dog. How my doctor described it to me is it was actually really funny when I had my consult. She goes, "Do you have a dog?" I was like, "Where's this going?" She's like, "Do you remember when you know, what do they call it when you do that to a dog?"
uh
Well,
uh
yeah, when you neutered your dog,
Hmm.
it was like fucking Big League Chew just hanging down for a minute, right? It's like
Oh,
now what does it look like? I was like, oh, it's flat. She's like, yeah, that's gonna happen. It's
oh,
gonna
no.
the
take 3 to 6 months, but it will eventually flatten out.
So
the
when they took off your testicles, did they put a cone around your neck too?
I asked for one, but they're like, there's no need. I was
the
like, it's not really a need, it's a want.
well, so one of the things that I will say that I've heard, and this is I've heard if you want to get a vaginoplasty, that they really like if you have that extra skin from the
Mhm.
sac. Like when that skin starts to atrophy and go back up, they have less to work with in terms of like forming a labia and everything like that. They can still use the shaft and everything to create like a G spot and to create um a cavity. But if you have an orchiectomy and have skin atrophy, you're really gonna kind of run the risk of not having it look as natural. I've heard sometimes they'll put actual like prosthetics in, like prosthetic testicles, just to kind of keep a little bit of that skin stretched out.
Hmm.
Um, so it's just something to consider if you're considering doing. I mean, and this is that's just what I've heard. I've never actually talked to like an actual doctor about like vaginoplasty or vulvoplasty or any of that stuff. But it's something I would recommend anybody who's thinking about it, like look into and talk to a medical professional because I do not claim to be one. I just play one on podcasts. Um, oh, I did have one question that I like to ask people. I guess we're kind of getting to the point of winding down, but
Oh,
um, sometimes I've heard people say that they're done transitioning, especially if they've been doing hormones for 5+ years. Um, do you consider that transitioning can be done? And if so, like what is the definition of done transitioning to you?
yeah, well, I felt like my BBL, because I wanted that for years, but I could never afford it because that's the one surgery that my insurance would not cover. So that's actually why I started the GoFundMe for that. But I always felt like if I got the BBL and I got kind of like the more feminine shape that I wanted, that I would be done, call it quits, and probably eventually bottom surgery. But that's not. I'm like not in a big rush for that. So actually, right now, aside from that, I kind of feel like I'm good. Like I don't.
Yeah.
There's nothing else in mind for the future that I really want right now. And I'm so
Yeah.
undecided on bottom surgery that right now I'm totally content with where I am in transition.
Yeah, the thing I always kind of like said was like when the majority of my plans and thoughts weren't related to the next stage of transitioning is kind of when I guess I was like done. Like when it flipped over to like living my life as Danny as opposed to how do I get to the life of Danny. Constructing Danny, which I feel like I'm still obviously still doing. I know some people are saying it's a lifelong thing and you never stop transitioning. You're just constantly like you're becoming the person until the day you die. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on that. So would you say that you're done now?
I
Like,
think so. Yeah.
oh,
Maybe
awesome.
someday, maybe one day I'll wake up and be like, you know what? I think I'm ready for a vagina. But for now, I'm totally good.
Yeah. Oh, and you asked us, but we didn't get to ask you. What do you mind talking about your dating? Like how dating's been since you came out? If you want to, you don't have to.
Of
Also,
course. So after the divorce, I was also enjoying singlehood. I was having a lot of fun. Actually, my ex-wife was my first everything, first girlfriend. Lost my virginity, all that stuff. So I was kind of tied down to her, and so when I got divorced, I got to live the single life, and I was enjoying it for quite a while. But then someone found me on social media, and she reached out to me, and she's a cis woman. Her name's Hannah. She's a beautiful redhead, and she really wanted to date me. But I was so brokenhearted over my divorce. I didn't want to move on. I wanted to stay single forever because I didn't want to risk, another
yeah.
heartbreak someday in the future. But she was like, you know what? I'll always protect your heart. I'll take good care of you. You could trust me. So I gave in and I accepted her, being in a relationship with her, and we've been dating for 4 years now.
Holy
Um,
shit!
it is a long distance relationship. It's really, really tough. She has two kids of her own. She lives in South Carolina.
Oh my
I'm not gonna leave my
God,
kids. She's not gonna leave hers. So we're still doing the long distance thing right now. It's
that is
it's pretty hard, but we with electronics the way they are today, it's not too bad.
that. Congratulations! That's so awesome.
Thank
I
you.
I love hearing that kind of like just like success story, like a happy
Mhm.
ending. Yeah, I guess for me, I just the town that I live in is too small to like limit myself to one gender, one type. So I've kind of like opened it up to everybody. Like the wine, not the bottle, as they say on Schitt's Creek. But it has not been boding well. It's interesting that you said she reached out on social media. Was she like a follower on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and then just kind of like fell in love, or was this kind of um like what was her opening? Was just like, hi, you're cute, let's date.
Yeah, basically, she came on very strong. So she found me. She came across some random TikTok video before they changed the algorithm a long time ago. It was easier to get views on TikTok, and she saw one of my videos, and then she kind of slid into my DMs on Instagram, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful. I think we'd make the perfect couple." Like right away, I was
Oh,
like, "Oh, I don't
wow.
know you yet, but thank you." I thought she was just another like random weirdo. But we started talking more and more, and I hate talking on the phone. I hate it so much. But I liked her enough to be like, I'm comfortable with you. Yeah, let's talk on the phone. So then we were on the phone all the time, and then video chats, and then we saw each other in person. And yeah, next thing you know, I
That's
trusted her,
awesome.
and with my heart, I guess you could say, and we're dating ever since.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. Um,
She is
oh,
really,
And she's
really
really,
cute.
really good at sex.
damn it, I'm not allowed to laugh. Come
Oh,
on.
sorry.
Oh,
um,
sorry,
well,
Dr.
shit. Next
GDG.
time you go visit her in South Carolina, I'm just in North. Hit
Yeah,
me up.
that's awesome. Um, that's I love and honestly, like, I guess I'd kind of convinced myself that like I was the odd person out by like considering these like initializing online like on Instagram kind of relationships that like that everybody else was meeting somebody in part in real life that lived really close to them, and me entertaining this somebody in New York or California or whatever was um kind of was a uh a fool's errand to do. But that's awesome that that's worked out this long for you, and um that's amazing.
It was really easy during COVID actually because airplane tickets were
Mhm.
so cheap. Like I saw
Oh
her maybe
wow,
once, sometimes twice a month. She would come out so often.
holy
Um,
moly.
but now tickets are expensive again. So we get to see each
Yeah.
other maybe once every 3 or 4 months. But
Oh
like I said, with electronics, we're always FaceTiming. She's
yeah.
constantly in my ear talking to me. We like to like we'll start a Netflix movie together at the same time. And that way we
Oh,
can
fuck yeah. I
watch
love
it,
that.
long
That's
distance. And
freaking
I think the hardest
adorable.
part I think is probably the time difference because she's 3 hours ahead of me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
hard to adjust to each other's schedules sometimes, but we've been making it work so far.
Yeah. Well, hey, you
Yeah.
two are in the same time zone. I'm in that one right now.
Yeah.
It's 10
Oh yeah.
o'clock.
Um, that's awesome. Well, I guess it's kind of winding down. I did want to ask the other question that we have to ask. This is completely spontaneous, and we definitely have not planned this out.
Okay.
Michaela, what is your transition theme song?
I was thinking maybe like dude looks like a lady.
Damn it. Wow. Um,
But if you want a more real answer, when I first started transitioning, my mom and I went to go see the movie The Greatest Showman,
yeah,
and for the song, it was
Yes.
This Is Me that was
Yeah.
performed. And I
that's
remember sitting in the theater
beautiful.
almost crying because that song touched me to the core, and I really love that song. So I'll pick that song as my official
Oh,
anthem.
I love that. That's beautiful. Um, what
That's going on the post.
yeah,
Sorry.
we that's wonderful. I love people who have these like reasons for their song other than like it just sort of being like a silly song. It's like yeah, that's great. Um, well, very cool. I think we're almost at an hour and a half because we always go over. But Bree, do you wanna take us out and then we'll go into after hours for those who like the spicy content.
Sure. Sure. Let me turn on professional mode again. Thank you, everybody, for watching Girl Dad Girls. This has been another fine installment. Michaela, thank you for joining us. I have been Bree St. Marie, as always. We have that QT Dana B. And Michaela, we would love to have you again, actually.
I would love
Yeah,
to come back. I
yeah,
feel like there's
uh,
so much more to talk about.
Oh,
yeah.
I know. It's
We
like Disney
have,
World. You can go for 2 weeks and not see it all. So it's the same thing here.
yeah,
By the way, you're
we
super
have.
good at that. I used to think that was pre-recorded.
Oh.
Your intros and outros, yeah.
Oh wow. Um, well, awesome. Well, everybody, we'll see you in the after hours, or if you're not a subscriber, you should think about it because you're gonna get to hear this be sexy. Yeah.
And we're
So
gonna bring
anyway,
out our nipples. Make sure you
yeah.
subscribe.
Bye everybody.
This has been a production of Girl Dad Girls Podcast. Check out new episodes every Thursday. If you are interested in knowing more, please email info@girldadgirls.com or find us on Instagram at girldadgirls. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.